Nick is trying to clear his name. He didn't do it. I don't even know why this bothers you.
Because he's trying to throw the suspicion on innocent people.
All he knows is he didn't do it. Stephanie, I really want to ask you something. Do you honestly believe that Nick would kill that boy?
Well, does he think that Ridge would take one of his shirts and put Shane's blood all over it?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You really hate Nick so much that you would be okay with him being convicted for something he didn't even do?
You don't even want to know what I think he deserves.
You know, you ask me questions, and then I ask you a question, and I don't get an answer.
Well, why make me say things to you that you're not going to want to hear about your husband?
Why are you here?
Because I'm your friend, and because I am concerned about you being married to this man.
Do you, or do you not think Nick killed Shane McGrath?
Are you asking me who I think is more capable of committing murder, Ridge or Nick? Because if you are, you're not going to like the answer.
No, of course, no, Ridge could never have done that. And if it were Nick, it would have been your dead body washing up on the beach. In the meantime, my dear friend is over here practically dancing on my husband's grave.
I am your friend, and I am here because I care.
No, you could honestly care less if I'm left here pregnant and all alone while my husband is serving a life sentence for a crime that you don't even think he committed. Thank you. At least you don't deny that.
But I do. I don't want anything terrible to happen to you.
What happens to Nick happens to me. And I'll tell you something else. A friend like you, I don't need.
I have no use for Nick. You know that. Especially after everything that he's done to my family. I mean, I warned you about becoming involved with him. That's over and done with, so... Look, I'm here because I'm trying to protect you from what I see as an inevitable tragedy.
No, you're standing on the sidelines rooting for him to go down. And thinking that somehow that's going to salvage our relationship. It doesn't even make sense. And it is not going to happen. You can show yourself out. Nick, where are you?
I'm on to something.
On to what?
Ashley Abbott.
Ashley.
Good news?
Nick thinks so.
That lead he was following?
I think you'll be very disappointed. No, crushed. If Nick finds out who the killer is. Stephanie?
I hope I didn't wake your little girl.
Yeah, I hope not. I was just about to turn in myself, actually.
Well, I was just wondering how the evening went with Ridge.
Fine.
No unwelcomed intrusions, Nick Maroney, for instance?
How did you know that?
Well, sometimes desperate people do desperate things.
Yeah.
I suppose he was trying to elicit information from you.
I told him I was the wrong person to talk to since I've never laid eyes on Shane McGrath. But Nick told me that Shane was actually in the building that night that, that night that my date with Rich never really happened.
Did he ask you about that canceled date?
It wasn't really canceled. I mean, it was a business emergency, that's what you said, so that's what I told him.
Yes, that's right.
There was something I was wondering about, though. Maybe I should mention it to Nick.
Wondering about what?
On that same night, earlier, you and I were in the lab, and we heard that really loud noise. Remember that?
No.
Of course you do. You said it was the freight elevator.
Oh, yes.
Have you ever heard that since? Because I haven't.
Well, now that you mention it, I don't think I have. They probably serviced the elevator. Probably needed it.
It was a sharp sound.
Really?
Yeah. Sounded almost like a gunshot.
Oh, not to me. It's probably just as well you didn't mention that to Nick, though. The police may well have the right man. That's why he's desperate. I think he's going to keep dogging you, too. So I would suggest that if he shows up here again and wants to come in, you just slam the door in his face.
Nick's on to me. He knows that Shane McGrath was at our office.
Who told him that?
Phoebe. Ambushed her with a bunch of questions, and it came out.
He's spoken to Ashley as well.
Yeah, I know. He thinks he's figured a lot of this out. Now he's involved Ashley.
Well, I'm not so worried about her. I think I've convinced her that Nick's just a desperate man. What I'm worried about is you. You need an airtight alibi.
Look, I don't care how convincing you think you've been. Ashley is suspicious.
You may be right. This could get out of hand. I've been thinking that the best thing would be for you to leave town. Today.
You think it's going to raise more questions if I leave now?
Not if it's a business trip. We're opening the Paris boutique. I think it's perfectly natural if one of the family were to oversee things.
I could take the company jet.
I think we should move quickly.
Nick's going to smell a rat.
I'll handle him. It's going to be a little more difficult now, but...
Because he's involved Ashley.
No, Taylor. I'm sure he's told her about confronting you. If Taylor sees you, she'll know that something is going on, honey. Who knows you or reads you better than Taylor?
Stephanie?
Oh, Taylor, what a nice surprise.
I'm looking for Ridge. Isn't this his office?
Yes. What did you want to see him about?
Well, Phoebe told me that Shane was last seen here, and this was right before his body washed up on the beach, and I was just wondering if Ridge might have seen him when he was here, and if anything had happened. I'm just looking for the truth. I need the truth, Stephanie, and I need all of it.
Well, I hope you're not buying this nonsense that Nick is feeding you.
No, I just want some answers. I want to know if Ridge maybe saw him when he was here.
Well, I think Ridge would have mentioned seeing Shane to Lieutenant Baker.
Maybe Lieutenant Baker didn't even ask.
You know, you ought to have a little more faith in the man that you used to be married to and happens to be the father of your children.
Well, Phoebe told me that Shane was here in this office, and he was becoming a little aggressive, and she asked him to leave the premises, but nobody knows if he ever did. So I don't know if Ridge maybe ran into him. Ridge was working in the building, right?
Actually, no.
So now you're saying he wasn't even working here? I mean, that's what Phoebe was telling me.
What I'm trying to say, if you'll let me finish, is that Ridge was very upset about Brooke, and he and I were talking. And Ashley came by. She wanted to see him, and, well, I told a little fib. I said that he was on the phone to Australia because he was embarrassed. He didn't want to talk to her. So if I, spared my son some embarrassment, then I'm guilty as charged. Is that all?
No. No, Stephanie. I want to know if that's the only thing you haven't been honest with me about. Well, is it?
What exactly are you accusing me of?
I know you know more than you're saying.
Well, that's what your husband would have you believe. But then he's casting, suspicion on everyone.
Stephanie.
I have to say I'm very disappointed. I really am. A woman of your intellect being manipulated this way. So quick to believe the best of your new husband and so quick to condemn a man who... Or did you ever really love Ridge as much as I believed you did?
Don't even try that, Stephanie. You know how much I loved Ridge. He was the most important part of my life.
Mm-hmm. Just not as important as Nick is now, apparently.
Well, I didn't come here to talk about Nick. I told you I wanted some answers.
Well, I don't. What answers do you want? I don't know. I mean, did Nick, defending Phoebe get out of hand? I mean, did he shoot Shane? Did he throw his body overboard? I don't know. Are those the kind of answers that you want?
You haven't even told me where Ridge is.
Ridge is in Paris on business.
Why didn't you tell me that when I came in?
You want me to get a message to him?
No, I can call him myself. I have all the answers I need.